Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. I'm Brian Winnikins from World Dairy Expo. And thank you to our expo sponsors, including Alcivia Co-op, AMPI, Anabasilo, BioVet, Bauer Seeds and Service, Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley, and Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. Of course, World Dairy Expo has a very big international component. And I am with Damir Abitayev of Kazakhstan, along with Lucas Blaustein of USDA, who actually works in Kazakhstan, which is, that in and of itself is kind of cool. So we're going to find out a little bit about what they're doing here at Expo as well. And again, Damir, thank you first for joining us. Well, tell us about your dairy farm in Kazakhstan. How many head of cattle do you have, and how big is it?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Damir Abitayev, so I'm the co-owner of the farm in Kazakhstan. We are on the second place on the productivity per each cow. So we in the country. So we have 37 liters per cow, which is about 75 pounds per cow per day, which is really high. And we got 570 dairy cattle milked right now, and 2,000 in total of the cattle. So we're heading to build in 2 years 2,500 dairy farm, automatically robotic and everything, feeding and stuff, so we see all the technologies here in the United States, because that's one of the biggest dairy countries in the world. We want to see also these numbers on our business, like 50 liters per cow and 4.5% of fat as well. Right now we are having 4.1, but we are heading to these numbers. So that's the reason we came here to this expo. That's because we want to learn and get these technologies, and together with the United States, grow together.
So there has to be a lot of challenges, because if I'm not mistaken, there's no port. Kazakhstan is landlocked. So how do you get everything in to even do this expansion, or for your feed, your fertilizer, your inputs? Does that come from other parts of the country? How do you get that to the farm?
There are actually different ways. It can be from Turkey, because there's also some other countries, like we have a Caspian Sea, but we have a railroad that actually going through other countries like Russia, or maybe from south. Yeah, we get it, a lot of technologies. We bring it easily. We have a lot of good companies that work together with European companies. John Deere as well is one of my favorite companies that I love to work. Yeah, for dairy we have no problems with service. Yes, there are some problems with maybe spare parts that can take maybe 1 month to get, but maybe 2 weeks. But however, we have to be optimistic and still work, because these technologies are present. We have to use them.
We are talking with Damir Abitayev. He's a dairy farmer from Kazakhstan, and now Lucas Blaustein is going to join us. He works in Kazakhstan with USDA. And so, Lucas, how is USDA helping Damir and other dairy farmers?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having us here today. You know, it's very exciting what we're doing. We're here at the World Dairy Expo with 35 other people, besides my friend here, Damir, from the region, from Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and the Kyrgyz Republic. And we're trying to make sure that the U.S. agriculture is connected to the world. We're doing that by making first the human connections, and that starts with events like this. So we've brought this delegation here with our partners at the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, our partners in U.S. industry, to really show them the U.S. advantage. What hardworking dairymen and women in America's heartland are doing to maximize milk production, the kinds of technology they're using, the kind of feed they're using, and the kind of techniques they're using. And we want to make sure that that's available all over the globe, especially in amazing markets like Kazakhstan, where they can use it and we can grow agriculture together.
Is the hope, Lucas, as well, to not only grow their dairy industry, but also grow our exports, our agriculture exports to Kazakhstan? And that not just food, but also those spare parts, all those other things.
That's absolutely not only the hope, the goal, and we will accomplish it. And we're doing that by these kinds of events. I'll give you a fun fact. Can you believe that just last year we exported over 2 million in just bovine semen? Do you know what that number was 5 years ago? Almost zero. 200,000 was all we exported. 5 years, from 200,000 to 2 million. That's the kind of opportunity that Central Asia represents. And why does it represent that? I think it's hard for Americans to imagine the part of the world we're talking about. We're talking about an extremely beautiful part of the world with huge agricultural opportunity. Some of the most underutilized pasture land of any country in the world. Kazakhstan alone is the 5th largest country by territory. It has a population of 20 million, and it's growing. The entire region represents 70 million people today, and it'll be 100 million people by the end of this century. So the question is, how do we work with this part of the world to make sure that they have the best technology, and where does that technology come from? It comes from right here at home.
What are some of the challenges that you face in working with not only Kazakhstan, but the other Central Asian countries?
Well, you identified one of the first ones, which is, I like to say it's America's farthest market. We are literally on the other side of the planet, and it takes a long time to get there, and product takes a long time to get there. So we have this new thing. We've been very focused on the middle corridor, and that's this bridge, land bridge, across the Black Sea. You go through land, through Georgia and Azerbaijan, and then you hit the Caspian. And the Caspian is the largest inland body of water in the world. Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan sit right on it. So once you can get things to the Caspian, it becomes much easier to transport them through Central Asia. So we're focusing on that corridor and how we can build trade through that corridor. And then also focusing on air shipments for other products that might be higher margin, higher value, or perishable.
I have to ask, where are you from originally in the United States, and how did you get into Kazakhstan?
Yeah, so for all of you on YouTube, you can probably tell from the hat, I don't have the accent, which people tell me all the time. I grew up in Texas, outside of Houston, and I have a small farm myself in the state of West Virginia. I was actually working in the agricultural industry for 8 years, and I went on a trade mission with the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Foreign Agricultural Service in 2015. At the end of that trade mission, somebody approached me and they said, hey, you seem to like working in foreign markets, you seem to like languages. Would you be interested in applying for the Foreign Service? And I said, USDA Foreign Service? What's that? I like agriculture. And they're like, no, we have people that work overseas on agriculture. And I said, well, that sounds like a dream job. So here I am 7 years later. I've worked all over the world, in Taiwan, in the Middle East. Now I'm in Central Asia, helping to promote U.S. agriculture everywhere I go, helping to grow trade, and helping to show people overseas what we have to offer here at home. And it's a pleasure and honor to do it. I love doing it. And did I ever think I'd be in Kazakhstan? No. But to everybody out there, it's a great place to do business. It's an amazing place to visit. And I would highly encourage all of your listeners to give Central Asia a shot. You won't be disappointed.
It's a heck of a story. And again, USDA doing work in Kazakhstan and Central Asia. Something we definitely will have to follow. From World Dairy Expo, I'm Brian Winnikins. You're listening to WRDN.